Hello everybody, Eridos here, and we are doing yet another Let's Paint. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Arcadia Quest Poison Dragon. As you can see, I have him out of the box. I haven't assembled him yet because what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to paint him individually, and then I will have him assembled when I have him on my table and whatnot, but for storage I will be taking him apart because it will just be easier to fit him back in the box when he's disassembled. So yeah, I'm just going to be careful not to paint these edges here and not to paint the holes, or else that will cause a few issues when taking the wings on and off. I will probably be coating them with painter's tape when I actually clear coat this thing, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, I already took the first step. I washed this guy for a few hours in a solution of water and soap, dish soap actually. So that should got all of the mold release that they use to get these things out of their mold when they cast these things. And I haven't primed him because he has a really good molded plastic green that I want to use as a base for this. Sometimes you don't even have to prime these things. If there's a really good base color with the plastic, you can just leave the plastic, but you also means that you have to be a lot more careful actually painting it. So anyway, it's a good starting point for us, but we want to try to get this thing looking a little bit more detailed. So we're going to take this little light green, it's called a sorbet, and I'm going to take a pretty big brush because this thing's a big model, and we're going to put some on our brush, and we're going to rub some off on our paper towel. And yeah, we're going to dry brush the entire model in this lighter green, just to bring out all those nice little details. As you can see, the spots are really starting to come out. The details are really starting to pop. Anyway, we're going to go over his whole body, we're going to go over the wings, and I'll come back to you after we're done. Okay, as you can see, we got a nice dry brush coating on there, on the wings too. So now we're going on to the next step. And I just got this bottle, so it's going to take a little bit. Okay, I got some dark green shading ink, a Thorian Camo shade. We're going to take a little bit of smaller brush because this isn't really that big. I'm going to just lightly put some ink on our brush and brush shading ink into the model. I want to try to get into those nooks and crannies there. Yeah, he's starting to look like he came out of the swamp here. That's kind of what I'm going for here. Anyway, we're going to do the same to his wings and the rest of him, and I'll get back to you when we're done. As you can see, he looks really sickly and disgusting, like he just walked out of a swamp, and that's exactly the kind of color scheme we're going for here. If you get too heavy in certain areas, you can just dab with a dry paper towel. A dry paper towel to get some of the excess, and you dab. Don't wipe. Because if you wipe, you're just going to get some problems. And I have a little area here. I should just dab a little. See? Right there. Dabbed it off. That looks pretty good. So yeah. Now we're going to go on to the next part. Oh. Looks like I'm going to have to touch up his knee there a little before I do the next one after this. Anyway, we're going to take the inside of his wings and paint it in a bright blue. Just a little bit of a smaller brush here. Just gonna take it, just paint the inside of his wings blue. And once it's fully coated, we're gonna take some aqua and dry brush the inside of his wing aqua in order to get the nice little effect we're trying to go for here. So yeah, once I'm done, I'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll go on to the next step, and I'll also touch up his knee there. Okay, I'm currently waiting for the blue to dry on his wings before I start dry brushing with the aqua. So while I wait, I'm going to try to do a few more of the other steps here. As you can see, I already trimmed the inside of his eyes in black, because later, once that black dries, we're going to basically coat his eyes in a bit of kiwi, and then just a little dot in the center for the black. But for right now, I'm going to take some ivory, just a little dab of ivory, and we're going to try to paint his claws. He has claws here, the two horns on top of his head here and here, spines here on his back, the two big ones on his chest, and the few on his tail. So we're going to start painting those in ivory. Okay, let me get this on camera here. And once we're done painting these in ivory, we're going to take some Axerit's Earth Shade and just shade these to make them look like a worn bone, because that's kind of what we're trying to go for here. I'm going to take a few coats of ivory to get covered, so I'm going to cut here. Hopefully I'll get the wings dried brushed and these scales ready. Also, before I paint his teeth, I'm going to paint the inside of his mouth a brick red, which I have right here. Just paint the entire inside of his mouth brick red, and his tongue, I'll get to that in another step. So yeah, we'll cut here and we'll be back when we're done with all those steps. Okay, as you can see, I'm waiting for the scales to dry. I got the inside of his mouth with a nice little brick red in there. And I just dry brushed these, and I'm not getting the exact color match I want. It still looks pretty blue. So I'm going to take some of the camo shade and actually try to get some of that a little bit more green. Yeah, that's starting to work out a little bit better. And in fact, I think that might actually get me the colors I'm trying to get. I'm also, after all these scales dry, I'm going to do the inking, as I said. And I'm also going to paint his eyes, and we'll get on to the next couple of steps after that. As you can see, things are really coming along together. He's pretty much almost complete. Just a few sparse details left. His wings are also turning out, but I forgot to paint the tips. So once that dries, I'm going to do the shade on them too. So what we're going to do is take some pink here, and we're going to start painting his tongue. Now then, I was saving this until after I was done with the rest of the model, because I didn't want any of the shade or the paint from the teeth to get on the tongue after I was done painting it. Yeah, this pink paint is very thin, so it's going to take a lot of coat. So we'll cut back later and I'll do the last finishing touches on this thing. As you can see, we're just about done with him. It's looking really nasty, like he's climbed right out of a swamp, which is exactly what we want. But we just need to do a few more finishing touches. First off, we're going to take his eyes, just add a little bit of shine to them, just about here. Just like that. Might need to fix it up just a little, but I'll get right on the edge there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix up his eye over here because I put a little bit too much there. But yeah, After that, we're gonna bottle this up, and we're gonna put in one final bit of detail. Gonna take our kiwi again. Should we shake it up here? And we're going to make a little bit of drool on him, because in the picture on the box, he's actually drooling ooze and slime. So we're just gonna trim a little bit on his jaw, make him look like he's just drooling this stuff. If it looks a little messy, that's actually what we want, because he's supposed to look like he's drooling. We also want to just put a little bit on his tongue too, because there's a lot on his tongue in the picture. No, sorry, I didn't get that in frame there. Sorry about that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to keep going on this slime detail on his mouth here. And once I'm done with that, we'll spray him down with some clear coat, and we'll show you the finished result. And here is the finished product. I'm gonna level with you here. I shot almost the entirety of this in October, and now here it is the early June, and I'm finally shooting the last part of it. Yeah, I've been meaning to get to finishing this, but it's been getting in the way. Anyway, as you can see, all those nice paint apps I added are really showing through. And of course, I made the wings removable, choosing not to glue them in, so that way I can get this dragon back in the package. Let's do a little scale comparison. I have another custom right here made from a Rail Raiders Mini. As you can see, this dragon is pretty big, and it's probably going to wreck a lot of games once I figure out how to stat this thing. Anyway, that is my Let's Paint of the Poison Dragon, and I'd like to promise that my Let's Paint videos aren't going to take this long, but we shall see how life turns out. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again next video. Bye!